Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we are discussing a 2022 model year limited edition of 400 pieces in stainless steel. This is the Seiko Prospex Speedtimer SRQ041, and it is a limited edition dedicated to this year's World Athletics Championship in the United States state of Oregon. So the watch is 42.5 millimeters in diameter. It is 15.4 millimeters thick from lug to lug. Just the case is 50 millimeters. And if we include the solid end links to the bracelet, the total distance across the wrist is 52.7 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now you can see on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. This is a large watch. I'd recommend it for a wrist no smaller than mine. So if your wrist is 16, like mine, you can wear the watch. But if your wrist is much smaller, you're gonna wanna seek out a smaller timepiece. Or at the very least, wear this watch on a strap rather than the bracelet. It's not particularly thick for a complication, but it's neither particularly thin. It'll fit underneath a jacket cuff, if not the tightest of dress sleeves, but it is a sports watch after all. We have a conforming end link to better integrate the bracelet with the case. Here, the watch, the bracelet, both in stainless steel. You can see that the bracelet is all of satin finish. Here we have removable links fixed in place by pins and sleeves. So if you want to size this at home, you're going to need a block and a punch, but we do have half-size links built in, so you have some fine-tuning flexibility. Then we have a thick gauge, single fold deployant clasp, Seiko branded, twin trigger release, so it's not going to pop open accidentally. Rolling around, you can see the underside. And then the case, which is simple but strong. It's not quite a Carrera because the Carrera's lugs, while angular and thrusting, also integrate into the case band. Here you can see that these lugs are broken out of the case band pretty dramatically. You can appreciate there's a little bit of a inverse conical profile to the case, and then there's a conical profile in contrast on the bezel. The bezel has a very narrow vertical lip, and then there's a step between the bezel and the case to break up the shear of the case and reduce the apparent thickness. The top of the bezel is flatted out, and the bezel is entirely polished. We have pump-style pushers. We have a crown, unbranded, and the watch is 100 meters water-resistant. It is a push-down rather than a screw-down crown. You can just push it and turn it. It will not screw down. You get that 100-meter water resistance in a watch that is also quite well loomed. So this is a very sporty timepiece. As you can see, an easy watch to read in the dark. The dial is designed to look like the surface of a track, as would be used in athletics. Of course, athletics is the terminology for the field of sports that high schoolers and college athletes remember as track and field. And if you're a fan of the Summer Olympics, you know that track and field encompasses a whole range of events that are collectively described as athletics. And of course, these sports continue outside of Olympic competition. So this watch is dedicated to the US-based 2022 championships for people who jump over hurdles or high jumps, long jumps, track events, and shot put. All of that falls under the umbrella of athletics. We also have a little bit of color in the use of yellow varnish. You can see that track-like surface. The idea is that it looks like a modern-day Olympic-grade rubberized track. We have applique indices, which are handsomely faceted and beautifully polished, sunken sub-registers in a lighter anthracite gray for chronograph minutes and running seconds. The watch does feature half-frosted hands, and that makes for a better contrast against the dial base. There's a flange outboard for reading your seconds, minutes, and fractions of seconds. And then the watch has two subsidiary setting modes. One is hacking seconds or stop seconds. The other is a quick set system that allows you to rapidly cycle the date. Turn it all over and you can see the logo of this year's World Athletics Championships. The watch is made in Japan. The movement is made in Japan. It's a limited edition. It's part of the Prospex collection. The case is actually surface hardened. So if you're familiar with Seiko DiaShield, which is a surface hardening that helps to resist scratches and scuffs, this watch has that. Although you can't see it well, inside is a manufactured caliber 8R46. It's an automatic winder with a 45-hour power reserve. It beats away at 8 beats per second, pivots on 34 joules, and in addition to the stop seconds and the quick set, this movement has both a column wheel for crisp chronograph feel and a vertical clutch. So you can see when it starts without any jump. And if you wish, you can run the chronograph full-time with no additional wear and tear thanks to the vertical clutch. This watch harks back to the original speed timer with caliber 6139 that launched in 1969. From the beginning, Seiko automatic chronographs had both vertical clutch and a column wheel, and this watch continues that tradition. The tradition of the 6139 and the original speed timer in a modern package dedicated to contemporary athletics. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.